The following is for entertainment purposes only. We are not financial advisors. We are not responsible for any losses, only the profits.
What is up, Octo Nation? We're going to dive right into this market. Work Sport enters into a US $70 million OEM agreement for TerraVis with a US-based EV electronic vehicle truck manufacturer. This is what popped today. This is the news. It is now able to announce more details in its late-stage agreement. The agreement presently in active negotiations to supply the groundbreaking WorkSport TerraVis tonneau cover system with solar power integration to the US-based electric truck manufacturer. The partnership between the two companies is expected to generate $70 million in revenue. It's revenue for WorkSport in the near to mid-term, according to the WorkSport CEO. This thing is going to be pretty darn cool. Additional information about the details surrounding specific terms of the agreement include an official statement from the EV truck manufacturer are expected to be disclosed mid-September. Got like 2 weeks. The economic value of the pioneering relationship is expected to be profound, significant to WorkSport and its future growth and development, added Rossi. The announced $70 million in expected revenues in the first contract is just the beginning and is likely to expand over the longer term. So he was even saying, that this is only the first electronic manufacturer that's going to be taking them on. There's others they're already talking with. They've got tons of patents. The anticipated partnership calls for them to the solar charging system to be a tier 1 OEM supply partner for the US manufacturer's forthcoming electric truck. Doesn't mean not their fourth one, but their one coming next. The system for the truck line will be exclusively configured and uniquely crafted so that the TerraVis system will provide the EV truck with a meaningful source of recharge. So the solar panel will actually plug into the vehicle to help it keep recharged, and that's awesome. So say you're running low on fuel, you can make sure you got the sun out, that helps. The collaboration agreement closely followed the first public disclosure of the details about TerraVis, the very first advanced folding truck bed tonneau cover system to be a fusion of cutting-edge solar power, storage, and delivery. The platform takes advantage of a standard pickup truck's practical capabilities while also utilizing power, more sustainable energy, proprietary high-efficiency solar panels built into the rugged tonneau covers with likes of WorkSport. So if you don't know, if you have some other videos, make sure to check them out. These guys actually make tonneau covers, the bed covers, all sorts of different kinds. They got tons of patents, but now they're doing the solar one. And it's speculation that it's probably going to be Rivian that they're making them for. And we know Rivian's got ties to Amazon, and that's fantastic. So I think once we get the actual official name tied to it, the brand to help carry this through, this thing is going to be absolutely parabolic. All through today, this thing was still sitting at like 40% up on the day. Didn't even budge. It actually went like way higher, but it just stayed at like 35 to 57% all day long. I couldn't believe it. So they said, with recent news and reveal, WorkSport enters in the most exciting period since its inception. We have been working around the clock to sort through the demand, field inquiries, and make sense of what is best for WorkSport going forward. Clearly, the new relationship rose to the top of the list. At the same time, WorkSport will continue to focus on growth as a lead innovator and manufacturer of global automotive tonneau covers. So that's fantastic. Check out my other videos if you haven't seen more on that. I wanted to show you this article here, which I thought was really interesting. Another way, basically, the stock market is getting pumped up that no one's talking about. Basically, the Swiss National Bank, they can just print money, right? They get their money, and the Swiss National Bank has piled up stocks across the range. On June 30th, it held 2,437 stocks compared to 3,415 stocks in the Wilshire 5000 total market index. From March 31st through June 30th, the total value of its U.S. stock holdings rose from $25.6 billion, or by 25.8%, to a record $118.3 billion. $6 billion of those gains came from its top 5 holdings: Apple, Microsoft, Alphabet, and Facebook. By comparison, over the same period, Wilshire 5000, the total market index rose 21.4%, and the S&P rose 20%. But in addition to the gains in market value, the S&B also bought more shares of its biggest holdings. So, this is another way that people don't realize that the US stock market is getting propped up. It's also getting propped up by other countries because our dollar is still devaluing, but guess what? Their dollars are still devaluing because when ours does, theirs does too. Okay? Because as long as ours is the world held currency that is mainly traded, they've got to realize that they're going to still always be trying to get into US dollars, especially if they're not a US swap nation. So if they can't take their money and say, okay, hey, we want to swap that for US dollars, they've got to get creative and do it ways like this, okay? So there's that. The Fed, though, they're still buying like bonds and stuff from big companies. And those big companies, like, Fortune 500 companies, let's just call it, they can take those money that they make from that and buy their own stock or do whatever they want with it, right? They're getting money. So that's another reason in how the stock market is being held and propped up. So hopefully that gives you a little bit of insight about that. Let's get to some more news. Look at this ticker. How's that look? Looks amazing, huh? That's KCAC. That's the Kensington Capital that we announced this morning. These guys are signing with that battery that they're making for electronic vehicles. It's not even going to be out for like 3 to 5 years. I thought at least they're admitting it, right? Because most of these EV companies like, oh yeah, we have no idea what we're doing. We don't have anything done. We don't know who's going to make it. Give us 2 years and we'll have it out. I don't know about that. Okay, but these guys are like, 3 to 5 years. Dude, they got Bill Gates on the board here. Okay, these are Silicon Valley darlings. A lot of Tesla folk are in this. I mean, dude, this is out of Silicon Valley. This thing is going to be popping, and obviously it is. This thing ripped. I mean, SPAC's been on fire this week, of course, right? When everyone's like, SPACs are dead, that's when the big money comes in and says, no, they're not. Watch this. So what happened? It popped up to like 1740. It only crashed down to like $15. Rode the channels, drawed it in, and every time it did exactly what it's supposed to. And at the end of the day, it had this last minute run from 1690 all the way up to $19 a share, which is absolutely crazy. 87.4% up on the day. The warrants for these are up 335.39% on the day. I hope all the other people that we've been telling to buy these, I think last week, and I think every week I bring this up. Did y'all get in? Were you in the 90 cents with us, huh? The buck, because look, the $5 today, $1 to $5. You just can't make those gains up, and that's why SPACs are so beautiful and so awesome. Okay, it's pretty amazing. Most of the stock market did rally down today, but SPACs all went up. Okay, you kind of see the big picture, what's going on. If the big money was really scared, they wouldn't be buying SPACs today, would they? I don't think so. But even FEAC, this was yesterday announced. We did some videos on there if you don't know about that. Flying Eagle Acquisition, FEAC ticker. So this thing actually rose from $10.85 on up to $14.65. Okay. And today it did go down, but it's still kind of staying in this channel. It's right about the $13 mark. And, it didn't get as hot as the one today. It didn't ride as hot, but it's still, I think macro picture, this thing is going to be absolute monster. All right, let's take a look at what we got next. We should probably jump into the backbone, right? Let's take a look at SPY. So can anyone tell me why the SPY finally went down today? I know you're thinking like doom and gloom stuff, right? That's what everyone's saying, right? Oh, economy, the jobs, I don't know, hasn't that been happening like every day? And aren't we in like the worst economy since the Great Depression right now? If we're being honest with ourselves, yeah. So why has the stock market been going up? I don't know. The reason why it went down today is because it finally broke out of this channel. It broke out of the surfable channel and it got rejected after it went out of it, okay? And that's why the stock market went down. If you don't believe me, we can go look at every other time that it's gone down, and guess what has happened? It has basically tried to cross over the top of the channel. So what's happening? So what's going on? It's just surfing the channel, okay? That's it. Just hitting the top and then coming back down to the red. Okay? Just like I teach it. That's all that's going on. Okay. Now, because we haven't touched the bottom in a while, it started getting a little wobbly. And so it started getting close to the top. And shouldn't have we known that it was going to be going back down? Yeah, we should have. Did we? Been watching it? I hope so. Are you guys learning how to draw these lines in yourself? I hope so. I hope I'm teaching you how to do this yourself, because this is pretty important. It's pretty important to learn this. At post-market, this actually ended at 345. Post-market, after-market, we're already up $1.50. All right. So how much did this go down today? Not even 5%. 4.37%. Is that good? No. Is that bad? Yeah. I mean, that's far down for the SPY. Okay, that's far down. But it was like 3.5 weeks ago, we were down like around 6% on the SPY. It was only like 3.5 weeks ago. You think this is really the end of the whole rip? You think that's it? I mean, what real big news actually did come out that hasn't been the same for the past 6 months? Okay. Right? I don't know. I mean, what happened though? It came down and it smacked this bottom channel. It actually blew it out just a tiny bit. We can move this tiny bit down, but it got rejected. It only double tapped it on the 30-minute. Let's go to the 1 minute and see. It obviously tapped it a lot more on that. But regardless, it's starting to head up. So unless this fully really breaks this channel, I mean, if we get down to like, maybe like 340 or something, that's when it can get kind of funky. Okay. But until then, I don't see it. Does it make sense to you that it would just magically just keep going down? I don't know. With other countries buying into this stock market, with the Fed printing money and giving it to the businesses who are buying their own stocks or through other corporations to keep buying it, do you really think they're going to let it go? I don't know. I think eventually, for sure. I'm really thinking we have till probably after election, though, at least, depending on what happens there. I think things are definitely going to get rocky. The QQQ, same exact thing. All right, it broke out of its channel. It faked out the bulls. Then it faked out the bears. It faked out the bulls again, right on top of the channel, and then smacked down, and then actually broke, just like the SPY, it broke right below the channel, but then it recovered right back up. Yeah. And same thing, there was still a bigger runoff like beginning of last month. So it's still a big deal. It went down 5% today. That's a big deal. But is the whole stock market come crashing down? Doesn't look like it to me. Not until it shows me that, not until the charts show you. You can come up with any excuse you want, but it's the charts. Why? Because it's the big money. It's the big computers, right? It's the big algorithms that are already out there. Until they want to make a big paradigm shift, it's not going to happen. It's just going to ride those channels that they create. Okay? TLT, this is another thing that kind of showed me, at least, that things are not that insanely bad and people aren't that insanely scared, because usually when something insanely parabolic starts happening with the stock market, people take money and throw it into TLT, and it goes absolutely bonkers. That didn't happen today, at all with TLT. TLT is a treasury bonds, a 20-year treasury bonds, stuff that the Fed is putting money into too. It didn't do anything. It went up like 1%, which is crazy. So if this usually starts spiking massively, that's a telltale sign. All right. Another telltale sign is the VIX. The VIX is the volatility index for the S&P 500. You can usually read this a couple days before, which you weren't really able to do. I mean, it has run up a little bit. Let's go back like a month. Okay. You can see it started going up. Like, this beginning of the week and all that, it started going up. So people are saying that this is why it tanked today, because this went up. No. Okay. It's not why. But I mean, this is something you can kind of use to gauge, because this will, once the SPY does get close to those edges, this will start going up too. So you can use this as a leading indicator for a possible big correction. Now, this did have a big run today. This had a massive run. This went like 26, 27% up, which is big. It's nothing insane though for what this is. if you don't remember what happened in March to this went from $15 on up to $85 within a matter of 2 weeks, 3 weeks. So when you zoom out, now does this tiny little thing down here look too bad? Not really. I mean, here's middle of June. This is way bigger. How big of a run was this? This was 45% it went up. You know, I mean, again, it's not like this is healthy what happened today. I mean, technically it is because we were at the wall. You got to go down. Hopefully it'd go down a little bit easier so we could have a little bit more of a sign. But didn't we have the biggest sign in the world because it was right there on the channel anyway? Yeah. Did everyone protect themselves today, or did everyone just hold on to everything and then panic sell at the end? I hope you didn't. I hope you either had your stop loss or trailing losses set up and everything. You didn't even have to make the decision because you already made the decision when you bought the stock. So what I try to teach everyone is the second you buy something to go ahead and protect yourself right away. So that way, if a day like today happens, you're not completely out of all your money, and then you have even more money to buy when stuff's really on sale, like today. Okay, today's stuff is on sale, man. You can go shopping. You can go to Macy's, you can go to GP Motors, you can go to Plug, you can go to Workhorse. Look at this, XBEV, Neo. What do you want? We got all the flavors. AMD, 10% down. Givo, Netflix. Whatever you want. I'm not trying to make fun of everybody here. I'm just trying to make sure that you guys either already have learned the lessons before, or today hopefully you learned some lessons to just protect yourself. Because if you do, you're always going to be fine. Okay? You're always going to be more than good. And one thing I just really want to point out too is that I've already mentioned it, but the SPACs were all green. Even Gleo, I'm thinking about doing a video on this. Does anyone want me to do one? I bet you don't know what it is, do you? Ticker GLEO. I think I'm gonna do one. It's Gleo Acquisition Corp. You're some Italian dudes. I think it's gonna be maybe a food play. But even this one out of nowhere is up almost 17% today. There's no news, nothing. Fuse, we've talked about that one. It's up 17.5% today. Jaws, 19% today. Just keeps going and going and going. So I don't know, it's pretty cool. You know, and the other thing I've talked about quite a bit too about Bitcoin and gold is a lot of people out there are still preaching that they are a hedge against the stock market, and they're not. Okay, and I want to tell the viewers now, because a lot of you haven't seen those videos, or maybe you need to get reminded that gold and silver and Bitcoin and all that other stuff are not going to protect you when the stock market goes down. They go down with it, okay? Case in point, we had another big dip today. Guess what all went down? Okay? Don't listen to people who are telling you that you need to buy it to hedge. No. Hedge what? It's not going to protect you against anything. You know, once stuff fully tanks, all right, that's when it's time to back the truck up on those, and then that's where it's going to go up, because no one's going to want it, because it's going to be super low. Okay, just like all the other stocks. But just don't think that these are going to protect you. Now, can physical metals maybe protect you if stuff ever really hits the fan, where they light switch the whole banking system? Yeah, then maybe, you know, but you're still better off buying, you know, shelter and water and batteries and other stuff like that. So what do you think? Are there any other plays that I totally missed today? You know, I popped out a couple of them, but I didn't find any other massive news that was going on. You know, I think we're going to be probably fine. I'm not going to suggest that anyone goes in and buys anything after hours or even tomorrow, or maybe even for the rest of the week, because we are going in through to a long weekend. People get kind of shaky around it anyway, and then what happened today? You know, we got a day left. It's kind of shaky. So, you know, I'm not going to tell you to go buy anything right now. I hope I don't ever tell you to go buy anything right now anyways, but I'm just saying protect yourself for sure. And if you still haven't, just do it tonight. You know, the second you buy something, protect yourself, all right? Last thing I want is for it to hear about any of you totally losing everything and be like, dude, I'm losing my house. You know, I don't want to hear about that. I want to hear about you guys protecting yourself, getting in when stuff is not cool, when stuff is super cheap. That way we can ride those boats, all right? Some of these call options that I did the video on yesterday for these big caps, did y'all watch that one? So some of these are still trading at a premium today, even though a lot of these tanked, okay? So what I'd like for you to look at is find the ones that aren't cool, because there's a handful in there that still aren't cool. If you look them up and you look at the price of the option, you'll see that the ask is still really low, like around $1 or $2. You know, those are the ones you want to get in on. All right, so just protect yourself if you're going to get into these, and just be tight. All right, everyone have a good rest of the weekend. Please subscribe if you haven't. Please like the video. You know that definitely helps out, and we'll see y'all out there tomorrow.